It is that time of year again. It's time to plan the quarter. I am planning for fall. So for me, I count fall as September, October, and November. And we're getting to it. So we're going to start out with just closing out my summer journal. When I close out a journal, I use this label maker and I label the cover with the season that it is. This is new to me this year because planning seasonally is new to me this year. So I am just using the label maker to put together a summer 2023 label for the cover. I'm using the Moleskine expandable dotted journals. Pros and cons to these. I love how many pages they are. They're great for a full quarter for me. Cons, the pages are pretty thin compared to some of the other journals that I've used in the past. I like the soft cover. There's pros and cons. And the other things that I do when I close out a journal are I go through and I tape off any of the major pages that I want to remember, like monthly, like the covers of the month, so I can just kind of quickly reference each month. I also do the reading log, any pages you see here that are tabbed. So reading log, pages for the month, and bucket list, things like I'm gonna maybe want to quickly reference. And once that's done, I just give her a little close, and we've closed her out for the summer, and it's time for our fall journal. So you missed this, my camera cut off and the footage got lost, but I did my autumn cover page in my new journal, and we're just getting set up for our book log. So I like to transfer all the books from the year into each journal that I do. So what I'm doing here is just kind of counting up how many books I read each month and creating the boxes to kind of fit the size of the books that I read. You can see January was a really big reading month for me, and that's kind of a fun visual just to see which months needed big boxes and which months needed small ones. I'm using my husband's stamp things. I think he got these off of Amazon, but I love them so much. They're just really convenient to use. I'm just labeling each of the months in here. And then when I go do my actual planning, I will go in and fill out all the books that I read. I rate them like on a star scale, 1 to 5, and I'll put all the ratings in there and update it. But then this journal will have all of the books that I've read in the year. This is my autumn vision page. So I use this page to journal for kind of what I hope the season will feel like, what I hope I can focus on for the season. So fall for me is kind of a preparing for winter time, going inward, getting cozy, winding down. So I'll probably write a little bit about that when the time comes. This page is for a values exercise, and I really can't draw the spread until I do the exercise. So unfortunately, I can't draw that in. But then we're doing our autumn goals page. And so this is just my quarterly goals. So what do I hope to accomplish at work in the 3 months that I claim as autumn? And then this is my offer strategy on the left, which is where I'll put any way that I make money and how I intend to market it. And then on the right, I did a card pull, just like pulling tarot cards for the season. And this page is my autumn bucket list. So I'm just kind of going through and writing down everything that I hope to accomplish fun-wise in the season of autumn. I have things like bake a pie, do restorative yoga, go get a drink and read a book. So all the cozy things, drink apple cider, go apple picking. And now I am setting up for September. So that's all of my quarterly planning that I do in my bullet journal. I do more in my Notion pretty much. And I'll share that with you all soon. But now we're getting into September. So I found these postcards that I bought in Paris on Opie and my honeymoon. And so I think this is like a fun way to use them as just like bullet journal inserts, things that make me happy. I love looking at a stack of books. I'm not going to lie. It brings me a lot of joy. And then I'm just going to use the stamps again to add in the month of September. I like for autumn to feel a little collagey, a little vintage. That's why I use the stamps, and I'm like gluing more things in. I'm drawing a lot less and taping in a lot more items. And sometimes I just double tape the pages together to give it a little bit of thickness so it doesn't bleed through as much. Also, I burned through a candle, so we're getting our light back. And this is my monthly review. So I do a review page on the month prior, and then I do a planning page on the other half. So it's kind of like a month at a glance situation. On the reflection page, I'm looking at what were my highlights, what were my challenges, what do I want to start, what do I want to stop, what money came in, what money went out, things I learned, what I read. And then over here on the planning, you see like what do I want to read? What's the month at a glance? What are my top 3 priorities? What are the values I want to live into? And what do I want to make for the month? So I'm kind of giving myself space to think back on what the month was before and then look into what I intend for September. September is one of my favorite months of the year, by the way. It's when I got married, and I think the weather is an absolute dream. My husband and I picked our wedding date because of the weather. We were like outside in the morning having coffee, and we were like, what day is this? This is when we should get married because it's morning time. It's really nice. And that's what we ended up doing. So that's my monthly review. And then we're going into something new I'm doing this month, which is really prioritizing my tasks. So I am at a time where I just need to reorganize my work life a lot. I tend to do this every quarter, and this is the way I'm going to do it this quarter. So over to the left, you see I have a task dump page. I'm going to go through every single thing that I do on a weekly basis, write down every single task, and then I'm going to input it into the Eisenhower matrix. So the Eisenhower matrix is this grid that I'm drawing here. You'll see that on the side here, I draw up important and not important. And then on the bottom, urgent and not urgent. So then that top left square is tasks that are both important and urgent. The top right square is important but not urgent. The left is not important but urgent, and the right is not important and not urgent. This gives you the following information. The top left you need to do today. The top right needs to be done by you, but not necessarily right now. The bottom left can be delegated, and the bottom right can be possibly even eliminated. So this is really helpful if you are kind of struggling to find more time in your schedule and you're kind of having a hard time knowing which tasks are important and which tasks you need to let go. So I'm going to work on that this month, and I think I will do it every month this quarter and just kind of give myself this chance to really prioritize well. Then we're going into one of my favorite spreads. This has become something that I started doing, I would guess, the spring of this year, and I draw a calendar into my month, and then every day I draw kind of like the major high point of the day. Not necessarily the best thing that happened that day, but something major that happened. And then I color code it. If it was a great day, and a fine day, or a rough day. Then over here to the right, you'll see I have notes. So these are the days of the month I like to prioritize. A day that I'm unplugged, a date with my husband, a time with the kiddo, time with myself, things like that. And I just go through and highlight those once I've done them. It's a nice visual just to make sure I'm prioritizing the things that are important to me. And then our final spread today is a weekly spread. I took these out toward the end of the summer because I started planning my weeks out in Notion and doing less like physical planning of my tasks in my bullet journal. But I want to use my weekly spreads. I kind of missed it, kind of having a bullet journal check-in. So I'm going to use it. I don't know how I'm going to use it yet, but we'll figure it out. And this is my flip through of the journal for autumn. So that's my autumn cover page. And then we get into the autumn vision. I'm planning out a journal, a vlog for my actual quarterly planning. Like, what do I actually do? What am I learning? And I'll talk about what I fill out when I do that. So this is just kind of a quick idea for what you could be reflecting on, things you could include in your bullet journal. But I'll get more specific in our next video where I talk about everything I do for a quarterly plan, because I love thinking about my life seasonally, reconnecting to myself in a seasonal manner, and yeah, it kind of like reignites my excitement for life. So happy fall, friends. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy planning. Bye.